So if I want to rationalize 8 square root of 2, what do I need to do? 8 over the square root of 2, excuse me, sorry.
Square root of 2 on both sides.
On top and bottom, so we're going to multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 2. 8 times the square root of 2 is just 8 square root of 2. I can't do anything. What's the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? Square root of 4. So some of you that were, some of you missed this square root part. You have to keep it until you simplify. And the square root of 4 is 2. Now I can look at the numerator and the denominator and reduce. 2 goes into itself once. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So you should have gotten 4 square root of 2. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks now, we've been dealing with trig, right? SOHCAHTOA, sine, cosine, tangent. We have 2 types of special right triangles. What? Why are we huffing already? You don't even know what we're going to do. Oh, because y'all are an avid, so you saw it. Okay. Yeah, so there's 2 different types of special right triangles. We have a 45, 45, 90, which is what we're dealing with today, and a 30, 60, 90 triangle, which is what we'll deal with tomorrow. So we're able to still find the side lengths of those triangles without using trig. Okay? So it's just a different way to solve something. So we're able to solve for the side lengths without using trig. Now, if this angle here is 45 degrees, does it make sense that this one's also 45 degrees?
Yeah.
Why? So all the angles have to equal 180, right? So if this one's 45, that has to be 45 because obviously the right angle is 90. Everyone on board with that? Okay. So here's the cool thing about a 45, 45, 90. The side opposite the 45 degrees, I'm going to call X for right now. But because this angle is also 45 degrees, that side length is always going to be the same. So because both of these angles are 45 degrees, the sides opposite to them will always be equal to each other. So same angle, same side. You okay with that? Now, the fun part is the side across from the 90 degree angle. We're going to call that X square root of 2. So we're going to look at this. No yucky faces yet. We're going to look at this as like our formula or how we're going to label our triangles. It's not really a formula, but you can kind of think of it like that. This is our like starting point. How we're going to label our triangles to solve. And the best way to kind of do this is jump in. It's going to seem harder today. Tomorrow will probably fall into place a little bit easier. I will give you this on the test because I'm nice sometimes. So I'll be nice for this. This will be on the test so you know what your labels are. You just have to know how to complete the process. Okay? All right. So let's just start. I'm even going to give you steps, which will help. So if I look at this triangle, what am I solving for? A and B. Everyone agree with that? I need to figure out what A and B equal. Okay, so step 1, we're literally going to write out steps. Step 1 is to label your sides. And when I say label, we're going to label it using this information here. Okay, so step 1 is to label. So across from the 45, what would I label it? According to this, we're going to label it X. So I'm going to say this side equals X because that's my label. This is also 45 up here, right? Mm-hmm. So across from that side, what would I label it? X. And what do I label across from the 90? X square root of 2. Okay, so I've done 0.0 math right now. All I've done is a label. Everyone with me? Yep? Okay. Step 2 is to solve for x. Step 2 is to solve for x. So what you're looking for is a side length that either has x equals a number or somewhere where you can physically solve a one-step equation and get x by itself. Do you see one of those 3 side lengths where x already equals a number or I can solve for x? X equals 3. Everyone see that? Did I have to do anything for that? Nope, that's what x equals. Okay, x equals 3. Still with me? Great. Step 3 is to plug in x. So everywhere else we see an x, we're going to plug in 3 in this case. So what is a going to equal? 3. What is b going to equal? 3 square root of 2. I just solved for a and b without using trig. Are we okay with that? Not too bad? So it's another way to solve for the side lengths without using trig. Yeah? Okay, all I want you to do to start is I just want you to label the sides. Okay, don't solve anything because if we can't get the labeling done correctly, then we're never going to be able to solve. So all I want you to do right now is to label the sides. Okay, so x squared root of 2. So that's step 1, label. What's step 2? Solve for x, right? So do you see a side where x already equals a number or where you can solve for x? Which one of those two? You can solve for x. Where can you solve for x? Okay, everyone see that there's only one variable here, where here there's 2 variables, so you can't solve for anything? So how would I get x by itself? Let's go back to basic algebra 1. How do you get x by itself? What do you have to move? The square root of 2. How would I move the square root of 2? Why'd you choose to divide, Josh? You're correct. Why'd we divide? It's opposite of multiplication. Right now we're multiplying, right? Opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by the square root of 2. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. I like those aha moments. Okay, so what happens on the right-hand side? Those cancel, leaving you with x. What about on the left-hand side? Does anything happen here? Do those cancel again? What does that leave me with? 9. So now we know what x is. What's step 3? Plug in x. What does b equal? 9. What does a equal?
9.
We see that? Are we okay with that? You don't hate me too much for this? Or don't answer that question. Okay. Really, we just have to practice them. I want you to try this one. I want you to go labeling to solving to plugging back in. So you're going to do the whole thing. Okay, if you need your group, use your group. But I want you to solve that problem. So step 1, label. X radical 2. So far, so good? Step 2, solve for x. Done. Everyone see that? Step 3, plug it in. So u equals 2 square root of 2. How much math have I done on this problem?
What?
Oh, we're stuck. No. Wait a second. Okay, so we got step 1, we labeled. We solved for x, right? This is x. Everyone okay with that? Did you do something with that?
Yes.
What'd you do?
Why didn't you put it on x and square root of 2? Or 2 squared.
Say the question again.
Because why didn't you put x times the square root of 2?
Right here? I did. You mean here?
I put it in the wrong spot.
So that's going to be that's really where you're going to mess up. If your labeling's not accurate, then you're going to start solving for things you don't necessarily need to solve for. Okay, so again, I'm going to give you this labeling picture for your test because that's not something I want you to get tripped up on. Is everyone with me now? So this equals x. I plugged it in for you. We're okay there? So now I plug in x here. So v equals 2 square root of 2. That's what x is, right? I replace x with that times the square root of 2 that's already there. Right? This is my x. This is what's already there. Can I simplify anything here?
Yeah. It would be square root times 2 times square root of 2.
Okay, so 2 times, what's the square root of 2 times the square root of 2?
4 square root.
The square root of 4. And what's the square root of 4?
2.
So your answer should have been 4. Some of you, I'm seeing like crazy eyes. Up until this point here, how much math did you do? None. Literally, you did 0 math. You didn't add, you didn't subtract, you didn't multiply or divide. You did nothing, right, to get to that point. This is where the math came in. All you're doing is replacing x with what x is and then simplifying. Okay? Where are we getting stuck for those of you that are getting stuck? Because I saw some crazy eyes from a few of you. And, yeah?
I still don't get
Why I didn't put x square root of 2. So it goes here. The side across from the 90 degrees is where x square root of 2 is. Is that where that was when you labeled it? Did you put it across from the 90 degrees or did you put it with this one? Did you put it with 2 square root of 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so don't look at what the side lengths say. Use this. So across from 45 is x. Across from 45 is x. Across from 90 is x square root of 2. Label it first, so don't look at any of these side lengths. Label it first and then start to come up with the rest of the information. Okay, so let's try another one. Because again, part of this is practice and just seeing multiple examples. So first step is to label. So we'll have you label first. If you think you have this, you can keep going. But I'm going to have everybody label first, and then I will pause and label with you, and then I'll have you solve. So label first. Across from 45 is x. Across from 45 is x. Across from 90 is x rad 2. Across from 45 is x. Across from 45 is x. Across from 90 is x rad 2. Is everyone labeled? Okay, so let's just make sure our labels are right. So across from 45 is x. Across from 45 is x. Across from 90 is x square root of 2. Do we all have that? Okay, now if you haven't already, move on to step 2. Solve for x, or it may already tell you what x equals. If it does, you're going to plug it back in. So for those of you who haven't finished, I'm going to give you a few seconds. I'm going to come around. So we have step 1 done. Step 2 is what?
Solve for
Solve for x. Noah, did you have to do any solving?
no, actually.
No, actually? Okay. So what is x?
5 to the square root of 2.
Perfect. So really, when you look at these side lengths, do you notice how there's 2 variables here? Can't do anything with that. Do you notice how there's 2 variables here? Can't do anything with that. This one only has 1 variable, and it's already solved for. How much math have you done? 0. Step 3, plug it in. So take 5 square root of 2 and replace it with all the other x's. So b equals, and I'm literally replacing it, 5 square root of 2. So that's what b should be. If I replace this x here with 5 square root of 2, I still have a square root of 2 to deal with. So this is 5 square root of 2. This is square root of 2. Everyone with me? Square root of 2 times square root of 2?
Square root of 4.
Okay, and what's the square root of 4?
2.
2. Once you take the square root, that square root's gone if it's a perfect square. 5 times 2? 10. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Last one, and then I'm going to have you practice. This one's the best one. Do you want to try it? Do we want to do it together? Try it? Okay. Okay, so if you label, what do I get here? Okay. Here? Which means this side is x square root of 2. Everyone got to that point?
Yeah.
And this is where you got stuck. Why'd you get stuck here?
I did it.
Oh, you didn't. Okay, well, you're just not for sure. Okay, so what's step 2? Solve for x. Which one of the sides only has 1 variable in it?
7.
This one, right? How do I get x by itself?
Of course.
Right? So x equals 7 over the square root of 2.
If you've done x equals 7 square root 2, or do you want it in a fraction?
So what did you do?
So I put it x equals 7 square root 2. I didn't put it in a fraction.
Well, it should be a fraction right now because we're dividing. But what's wrong with this?
It has to be in the middle. Yeah.
Okay, we can't have a square root on the bottom. Do you know how to deal with that?
Yeah.
What do we have to do?
Multiply 2 on both sides.
Okay, multiply by the square root of 2 on top and bottom. Right? It's what we did at the very beginning. So this is really 7 square root of 2 over what?
4.
So 2 times 2 is 4, and what's the square root of 4?
2.
So it's really 7 square root of 2 over 2. That's what x equals. Are we okay with that? What's the final step? That's all you can do. You don't have to simplify that anymore. The final step is to plug it in. So b equals 7 square root of 2 over 2. What does a equal?
Square root of 2 over 2.
Mm-hmm. Just because there's fractions and square roots, don't let that freak you out and stop you from doing the problem. I know you hate them, but life doesn't just give you whole numbers all the time. Right? I'm going to I'm going to get you to like fractions a little bit more by the end of the year if it kills me. As long as we go from like hating fractions to being like, I still don't like them, but I can do them. Like, that's my goal. Yeah? Okay. All right. I'm going to give you your homework.